Today, I'm talking about games with incredible stories, insane graphics, unique gameplay mechanics, and worlds so good they honestly should have became way bigger than they did. Some of these games got overshadowed by bigger releases, some released at the wrong time, and others were just completely misunderstood when they first came out. But after playing all these myself, I genuinely think a lot of these are way better than the major AAA games that we see headlining everywhere. So today, we're talking about the most underrated games on the PS5, including one PlayStation game that I think deserves a sequel. So let's get right on into it. The first game we have on the list is Gravity Rush. I really believe that Gravity Rush is one of the coolest concepts PlayStation has ever made. The whole idea of the game is that you can manipulate gravity itself. Instead of just running around normally, you're literally flying through the air by falling in whatever direction you choose. It is kind of weird at first, but once it clicks, it's pretty cool. The world design is beautiful too. It has this anime-inspired floating city aesthetic that looks unique even years later. It is crazy how little Sony talks about this franchise, because if Gravity Rush released today with a bigger marketing push, I really think people would lose their minds over it. I do think the one fallback of this game is that it could be a little clunky at times, but I really think that the creativity of the movement system completely makes up for it. Next up, we have The Order 1886. This game got destroyed when it first came out. I do think people were a little too hard on it. Yes, this game is short. There are a few cutscenes, but visually this game still looks insane even today. It has a unique concept to it. It's like history, Victorian London setting mixed with like werewolves, and the advanced technology is also a really cool concept. Kind of feels like a playable movie. The weapons are awesome, the sound design is incredible, and the graphics still hold up to this day. I think the biggest issue is that people kind of expect this game to be an action-packed blockbuster game, but it's really a slower cinematic experience. And I don't mind games like that. I think it all depends on what you are looking for. I don't think every game needs to be 80 hours with a million side quests. Some games are really great like that though, so.
My work gives them hope that we will one day prevail against our enemies.
The next game we have is Concrete Genie, and it's probably one of PlayStation's more wholesome games. This game completely flew under the radar, which is unfortunate because it has a lot of charm. The story follows a kid named Ash who uses magical paint to bring murals to life, and it's just a gorgeous game. As you paint walls and create these glowing creatures, the world slowly transforms from dark and depressing into something colorful and alive. And don't we just all need that in our life? It's one of those games that just feels relaxing to play. This game also uses motion controls in a really creative way. I feel like a lot of PlayStation games don't utilize that the way they need to be. This game just feels like one of those classic PlayStation experimental titles that Sony used to make more of during the PS2, PS3 era. Man, I really miss that. Everything's so copy and paste, but that's another conversation for another video. If you like difficult games, Nine Souls might be the best one that you have never played. This game mixes fast-paced combat inspired by Sekiro with a hand-drawn cyberpunk art style that looks incredible. The combat is all about timing, parrying, and precision. This isn't a game where you just mash buttons and hope for the best. This game actually forces you to learn enemy patterns. What really surprised me though was the story and atmosphere. The world has this mix of futuristic sci-fi and ancient mythology that gives it a pretty unique identity. It's one of those indie games that feels way bigger than people expected. RoboCop Rogue City is a game that I really did not expect to be good. When people first heard there was a new RoboCop game coming out, most people assumed that it would just be another cheap movie tie-in game, but it somehow ended up being pretty good. This game perfectly captured the feeling of being RoboCop. You walk slowly like a tank, enemies explode into pieces when you shoot them, and the game absolutely nails the atmosphere of those original movies. And the game has so much heart. There's detective sections, dialogue choices, side missions, and moments where you actually feel like a police officer trying to clean up Detroit. It just feels like one of those old school AA games that used to be everywhere, especially during the PS2 and the PS3 era. This next game I genuinely have always wondered why people don't talk about this game more, and that's A Plague's Tale. Both Innocence and Requiem are incredible narrative-driven games with some of the best atmospheres I have ever seen. The game takes place during the Black Death in France, and the environments are absolutely horrifying in like the best way possible. The rat swarms alone are nightmare fuel, but what really makes these games special is the relationship between Amicia and Hugo. Their bond feels real, emotional, and believable, and over time you genuinely get attached to these characters. Requiem especially feels insanely cinematic. It looks like it could be out of a movie. The music is incredible. I don't want to give too much away, but the ending just, it got my heart. I'm not gonna say anything. I think these games sometimes get overshadowed because they aren't giant open world RPGs or massive multiplayer games. But if you love a story-driven experience, A Plague's Tale is definitely worth playing.
You stay here and patrol. Report if you see one bloody rat.
I knew it. I knew it. All right. Move quick.
Another game that I am so confused why I don't hear more people talking about it is Alan Wake 1 and 2. And I'm grouping these together because I think everyone should experience both. The original Alan Wake was already underrated back in the Xbox 360 era, but Alan Wake 2 just took everything to a whole nother level. Alan Wake 2 is honestly one of the most creative horror games I have played in years. The live action scenes, the psychological horror, the storytelling, the atmosphere, it all feels so unique compared to modern games. And it's honestly one of the best looking games on the PS5, like no joke. But I do think what makes these games so special is that it's just weird. It's just a weird game. They fully commit to their strange, surreal storytelling instead of trying to play it safe. One second you're solving mysteries in the dark forest, and the next you're in some bizarre musical sequence wondering what's happening. But somehow it just works.
From what I've gathered, you grew up nice and sheltered with mama's pretty stories and your own made-up fury. And mama gave me a magic clicker. Well, yes, I think it's true and fair to say.
But if you like games that feel like artistic yet experimental while still being genuinely creepy, Alan Wake is a must-play series. Another game that I wanted to talk about is Ghostwire Tokyo. This game got really overlooked when it released. A lot of people expected it to be this non-stop horror game, but it's actually more of an atmospheric supernatural action game. And exploring Tokyo in this game is pretty good too. The city feels eerie, empty, and beautiful all at the same time. The rain-soaked streets, neon lights, abandoned stores, and paranormal enemies create such a cool vibe. The hand gesture combat is also really unique as well in this game. Instead of traditional guns, you're using element powers through these almost Doctor Strange looking hand movements, and while the gameplay can get repetitive at times, I think the world itself carries the experience. Blueprints is one of the most fascinating games that I have played recently. The entire game revolves around exploring this mysterious mansion where the rooms constantly change. Every decision matters because you're basically building your own path through the house as you play, and the deeper you go, the more secrets you uncover. This is really the type of game where you go in saying, oh, I'm gonna just play for 20 minutes, and then it's 3 hours later. Oh my gosh, I have experienced that so much in this game. It constantly rewards curiosity. The puzzles are smart, the mystery keeps pulling you forward, and then there's like this constant feeling that the game is hiding something from you at all times. I think Blueprints is exactly the kind of creative, smaller scale game that deserves more attention in the modern gaming industry. And I really hope that they do make another game like this, because I would play it in a heartbeat. But those are some of the best underrated games that I have played on the PS5. I really do think that a lot of people should go outside of their comfort zone and play games that they are not used to. That's when you discover the best games, in my opinion. That's how I've discovered some of my favorite games. But this is just a small handful of games that I have played that I think deserved more attention. If you guys want a part 2, let me know, because there's so many of them. I would gladly make a part 2. But if you found any use of this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Pause for now, play forever. AK out.